Cannabis has been used by humans for thousands of years. When you consider medicinal use, which is well established, as well as religious and recreational use, despite being used for thousands of years and knowing that cannabis had effects, scientists only recently started to discover how cannabis affects our bodies and why. Sometime in the late 20th century, scientists started to uncover what inside cannabis had the effects on humans. They started to isolate these chemical compounds, which are known as cannabinoids, or some people call them cannabinoids. In an effort to find out how cannabis and cannabinoids affect the human body, researchers focused in on one primary cannabinoid, THC. That's the cannabinoid responsible for the intoxicating effects of marijuana or high THC cannabis. In 1988, researchers finally uncovered a receptor, a place where THC acts in the body to cause its effects, including the high. But what the heck is a receptor? These receptors sort of function like locks on a door, and THC impersonates a key produced by the body. When THC, the key, interacts with the lock at the door, then you get an effect in the body. For example, let's think of a medicine a lot of people have heard of, oxycodone. Oxycodone is the key equatable to THC, and it interacts with the receptor that we all have in our body called the opioid receptor. That receptor is actually the reason that opiates like oxycodone have action in the body, and the same thing happens when you introduce THC. Again, the key and the lock. So scientists realized that if THC interacted with a receptor in the body, then the body must produce THC-like molecules. This logic has been used to apply to other systems that scientists have discovered in the past. So when researchers started to look for what endogenous or naturally produced chemical within the body interacted with the CB receptor, like THC, that's when researchers found a new molecule produced within the body. Scientists named this molecule anandamide because ananda means bliss in Sanskrit, so this is the bliss molecule. What's really interesting about anandamide is that it's released during pleasurable activities and can be associated with happiness, essentially. Now that the scientists discovered the lock, the CB receptor, and the key, anandamide, they realized that they were dealing with a whole new system, the endocannabinoid system. One of the coolest things is the endocannabinoid system is not unique to humans. It's actually shared amongst all vertebrates, showing that evolutionarily, this system is of extreme importance and very old. The endocannabinoid system is so important and so integrated that it can be found almost all over the entire body, and it helps regulate our sensitivity to pain, our appetite, our sleeping, as well as some of our metabolism. And the body produces endocannabinoids, but cannabis plants produce phytocannabinoids. These phytocannabinoids are those keys we talked about earlier. First, we have to talk about THC, the cannabinoid most people know about, but it has many effects. These effects include pain relief, anti-nausea, anti-spasm, sedation or anxiety relief, as well as neuroprotection in some degenerative diseases like potentially Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and more. We're still learning. The effects of THC are almost exclusively mediated through the endocannabinoid system, CB1 and CB2 receptors, which are located throughout the entire body, the brain, the immune system, and important organs. CBD is another one of these keys, but CBD is a little different. It has a lot of diverse actions and doesn't really engage with the CB1 and CB2 receptors as much as THC. CBD's actions include anti-inflammatory actions, antipsychotic, as well as anti-epileptic activity. It's also possible that these keys can come together, THC and CBD, and it's thought that when consumed together, CBD may be able to alleviate some of the anxiety associated with high doses of THC. This is interesting because we see that CBD alone has anti-anxiety and antipsychotic effects. While there's hundreds of keys, THC and CBD are still the primary ones, and they come in varying ratios in cannabis that you can find. We know that THC interacts strongly and directly with the endocannabinoid system, but CBD's mechanism of action is still being researched. We need to realize that research on the endocannabinoid system and cannabinoids is ongoing and developing rapidly, And despite not knowing everything about the endocannabinoid system, there is a ton of preliminary evidence that cannabis and cannabinoids can benefit a number of conditions and can be really beneficial for patients. The onus is going to be on you a little bit to do some trial and error and find the right cannabis product at the right time of the day for you.